Hey guys, we know that SWFT blockchain is based out of China. What if I were to tell you one of the world's biggest global asset managers thinks that India and China are the best emerging markets, right? And we've already made the connection about how the Draper empire, Draper who owns SWIFT, extends into India and China. Let's talk about it. But first, as always, cue my guy, Indigo Saint. Catch him at the Third Eye podcast. Let's get it. Let's get it. Indigo Saint in the building. Black View Investing. Let's go.
Who's this producer?
Best believe I was black or invested. With your money, you ain't gotta be guessing. Profits is what we manifested. So we binge on a black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested. That course in this race, we ain't resting. We got stocks, we got crypto with a blessing. So thank God for that black or invested. Best believe I was black or invested.
My guy Indigo gets me hype every time. I swear to goodness. What is up, guys? What is up, Crypto Warriors? What is up, Black Root Crew? Let's get it going in here. Let's go ahead and share the screen. Really excited about today's show. Let me make sure we can share the audio because we're going to hit some audio here today. Let's see who's in the chat. What's up, Miklo? Everybody just float on in. Without ado, we're just going to get right into it. Again, we've let you know on this channel how Draper and Draper assets and Draper connects to India and China. But what if one of the world's biggest asset managers believes that China and India are the biggest and best emerging markets? So let's start here, okay, shall we? This is one of BlackRock's heads of APAC, and APAC is defined as Asia Pacific investing. So I think you say this, Niraj Seth, and we're saying this is from Bloomberg TV. You know, fair use and all of that. We're going to look at a couple different video clips today, and then we're going to kind of get into the business of explaining it. But to me, and shout out to Underdog Research Channel, he just had a nice quick video today reminding us, right, that Swift is a cross-border payment system, right? And if you believe in cross-border payments, you must really believe in Swift. And one of the things I want us to take away from today is that the economy is global. Okay. It's not just, America versus, BRICS or BRICS versus G7. The economy is global. And one of the biggest movers and one of the biggest players in that global economy is BlackRock. As you can see, they do have Asian Pacific investors. They do have people that their sole job is, investing in that area of the world. Okay. So again, even though BlackRock is an American company, it is globally looking for opportunities to expand its purse. Okay. So get that. Like, you know, for these millionaires, billionaires, and BlackRock's case, trillions of dollars under management. It is a global game. Okay, for people like Tim Draper, it's a global game, and that's how we've been through it before. Where Draper has said, in his own words, his investments in China were what pushed his purse further. Okay, the furthest. Yeah, actually, he said. So let's kind of listen to this and see where we can go from here. But just want to highlight our Telegram. Shout out to our moderator E. He keeps things nice and moving in there. If you want an area of like-minded individuals where you can talk about crypto, bounce things off the wall, it's free for now. Links are in the description. Maybe you can't talk about crypto to all your friends. Maybe they have different thoughts about crypto. Well, you can come talk with us here in the Telegram. You got wonderful people in here sharing stuff, sharing their thoughts on their crypto journeys. Again, none of us in here are financial advisors, but we are people who have our minds about crypto and taking advantage of this bull market. So come on in, join us. We're talking crypto, but we're also talking life. Be sure to come in and join us here. I'm going to go ahead and share a Telegram down and start this first video here that I want us to take some things away from. Again, not a financial advisor, nor do I want to be. None of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing with my portfolio. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick up here.
It does seem like investors still buying the Indus story.
I think it's the most transformational story in the world today by a long margin. And again, if we go back a little bit, like 500 years, you would see India and China were more than 50% of the global economy. I think they're slowly coming back. We've seen some pause in the growth story of China, but what's happening in India is actually quite remarkable, and it's built on the stability, the demographics and the infrastructure, and then it's getting the tailwind of geopolitics. And when you think of stability, you have politics, policy, macroeconomics. It's transformational, and I do think if you continue to see that political and policy stability, this story has 20 more years at least, if not longer.
But we're talking about stretch valuations, and some people say, you know what, relook, reassess, perhaps it is time to buy China, take money out of India, put it into China because it's been battered, and you know what, we probably would have seen the bottom already.
So that's an interesting point, because that point would have been discussed last year before, or so question is at what point you're going to be right, and even a broken clock is right twice a day. So obviously there will be a point where this will happen. But if I again think about the investor flows, so portfolio investor flows versus the FDI, the way I would think of is the liquid market, so the public market flows will have that tactical view around India, China, and in fact Japan, and where you allocate. And we've seen some reallocation of that China to India and Japan in the last 18-24 months. Some of that will go back. Private markets, probably more towards India.
So just in what he just said, you are seeing some reallocation of funds from China to India and Japan. What have we been talking about with Draper and stuff going on here, right? Is Draper being in all three of those markets, India, China, and Japan. And just note that they were live from Singapore, which is where we've also seen Draper with XLR and other things, right? So honestly, for us, I think it's shaping up very, very well, because we know Draper is in these markets and SWIFT is in these markets, and SWIFT can be moved cross-border to any of these markets, okay? China, India, and Japan, okay? So it's a great outlook for us, but let's continue and finish this out.
And then the FDI, for sure, away from China, more towards India, Vietnam, Mexico, Malaysia, Thailand, and a number of other Asian economies.
So what's the bet?
So you
in
see
India,
that?
what's the bet?
That's
in China.
So the key,
that's everything we've been talking about, right? It's everything we've been talking about, right? I can't say it enough, bro. To all these Asian economies, India, Malaysia, and Thailand, all right? These are emerging markets which these billionaires are looking to get their money into, and sometimes trillionaires also when we include BlackRock. So these are all emerging markets where they seem to be filtering their money. And if we're betting on certain things like, or not quote unquote betting, it's just a term, but if we're looking and using our research and seeing money move to these markets, it makes a little sense for us to have our money there as well, right? So let's just back up and hear that again and play.
for sure away from China, more towards India, Vietnam, Mexico, Malaysia,
Okay, let's back that up just a little bit further. Okay.
probably more towards India. And then the FDI for sure away from China, more towards India, Vietnam, Mexico, Malaysia, Thailand, and a number of other Asian economies.
So what's the bet in India? What's the bet in China?
So the key in India is you want to go with the long duration assets for actually writing the macro story. The public markets are stretched, so it's very hard to build a very bull case for the Indian public equities, although you still have the benefit of compounding if the growth rate is where it is. In case of China, I do think people are underestimated the size or the growth of that economy and hence the opportunities that exist in the public market. So I would tactically be long China here, but as I said, it's a little harder to take a much longer term view because of the policy certainty that you need.
Okay, now we may not understand all the terms of what he's saying, but the point is money's moving there into these markets, okay? And obviously, BlackRock's there. So hold on. So now we're going to move to our second video here. Okay, and this is from Max Maher. I think is how you say his name. I'm trying to pause it here. Okay, so definitely again, fair use, but hopefully he doesn't flag this or whatever. But we're gonna listen to part of Max's video here. This is from, so the video we just watched was from Bloomberg. That was like from 4 months ago. The video we're watching here is from Max Maher, and this is from a year ago. Let me see if it says specifically October 21st, 2022. So honestly, you can almost say 2 years ago, to be honest. But let's listen to this part of this video here. And he's going to say some things and about like the point just really to take away from what he's saying is the emerging markets that he's talking about. He's going to have certain opinions in there, do what you want with those opinions. But the point is to take away that these are emerging markets that SWIFT is in, okay? And Draper is in, and BlackRock is in.
And then there's inflation. I am sick of that word, but emerging economies are hit differently by inflation, often depending on what they export and import. If the country pumps out valuable, high-demand resources like oil or copper, they're probably going to be fine no matter how pricey their imports become. This is what helped the Saudis stay rich and afford all those crazy weddings. But if you're like India and you have some kind of reliance on agricultural products, then you're going to get slapped in the face by inflated prices. So I was nearing the end of my journey. I had the tools and the strategy to at least have a shot of finding the next big emerging markets. But I also knew my odds of making a mistake and blowing it were fairly high. Emerging markets are risky investments, but I wasn't going to let fear, or worse, intelligent risk mitigation, stop me. Here's what I found. Indonesia. When you think of Indonesia, you might think king cobras, crocodiles, and Komodo dragons. Scary stuff. But did you know Indonesia has the 4th largest population on Earth? It has a wealth of resources like natural gas and crude petroleum, a great location geographically with access to Asia, Oceania, and the Pacific. It scores well on the Human Development Index, which means it's easy to do business there. And even better, the government of Indonesia is taking steps to modernize, making them more investor-friendly. There's a thriving entrepreneurial e-commerce vein within the country, and it's the 2nd fastest growing G20 nation from 2012 to 2020. And its debt to GDP ratio is still tracking below 50%, which is great. They also have amazing food, and that has to count for something. It's all pretty enticing. But before I tell you how to invest, we need to check out Indonesia's neighbor and today's sponsor, because if you made it this far in the video, there's a great chance you want to diversify your investments. Or maybe you just like listening to my video sound design. Fun fact, a lot of our music is custom made for each and every video. Malaysia. It's seen solid growth over the past decade, ranging from 4 to 6%, and enjoys many of the same geographical advantages of Indonesia. It's a major producer of rubber and palm oil, as well as large quantities of natural
Malaysia. Now we've been over Malaysia and having Draper cryptocurrency exchanges related to Asia, and I think that's Coin Haku or Coin Nut. One of the two of them are in Malaysia and Singapore. Okay, so we've been there. But again, in these emerging markets, we see Draper there, and we see, BlackRock. APAC guy, Niraj Self, just told us that money's moving there. Maybe it should move there from China to India and all of these other markets he mentioned, and these were one of the markets. Now, again, Seth's video was from Bloomberg from 4 months ago. This video is from Max Maher about 2 years ago. So the move was happening, right? It was happening, which is what we see also here. Draper founded CoinHaku or CoinNut in like 2014, right? So this move has been happening, right?
Gas and petroleum. Its debt to GDP ratio is falling, its currency is solid, and it has a current account surplus. It's home to great manufacturing and service sectors and a top exporter of electronic components. It's one of the most open economies in the world with a trade to GDP ratio averaging over 130% since 2010. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a solid foundation for long-term growth. Exactly what we want.
Solid gold, baby.
Now, what about Poland? This one might be cheating. In 2018, the FTSE Russell bumped Poland up from emerging market to developed market. But it's still growing rapidly, and it's integrated with many other EU countries, namely Germany, which gives it a huge advantage. Plus, it still uses the zloty instead of the euro, meaning it retains financial independence. Poland's actually a crazy success story for emerging markets outside of Asia.
We're not really talking about Poland today, but I'm going to just let the video play through. Yeah, maybe Poland. I don't know. I'm not really researching Poland, but soon he gets back onto China and some other stuff. So
back to. In the last 26 years, we've seen Poland's GDP double in size, and GDP per capita jump from 32 to 70% of the EU average. It has an incredibly solid manufacturing base, producing cars, computer parts, and machinery. That said, its debt to GDP skyrocketed through the COVID pandemic to 57.1%, but it's since begun to decrease. Now China. It gets a lot of press, and while it's deserved,
Look at Randy Orton slithering.
watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! India is right behind it with incredible growth and a huge population to back it up. Just look at these stats. The curve speaks for itself, and its GDP growth is similarly impressive. Its per capita GDP, though, is still way behind China, and that may be a good thing for investors, because unlike China, where the middle class is distinct, India still has room for one to grow, meaning investors can benefit from citizens with more disposable income. It's also home to well-regarded US-listed businesses. That said, as great as India's growth has been, there are reservations. Its debt to GDP ratio has been growing to absurd levels, and its accounts are in the red, which could be made worse by global inflation. And on top of this, it scores pretty poorly on the Heritage Foundation's index. So why am I recommending it? Because when you look at the actions of the world's most dominant companies, it's clear that India's benefits outweigh its negatives. Your Amazons, Googles, Facebooks, they're all investing heavily into the country to ensure their growth. India has a huge growing population with a young, talented workforce keen to get into the tech sector, and this is great. Plus, unlike China, India is less burdened by an authoritarian government. So optimistically, it stands to do even better in the long run. So yeah, after a long, drawn-out 500 IQ journey, these are my favorite emerging economies. If you want to run with this, just...
So that was India, Indonesia, and Poland. But he also threw China in there too, which he didn't list that one when he said the three, but he did talk about China as well. So there's that. And now the granddaddy of all of anyone, Mr. Larry Fink here of BlackRock. Let me see who's in the house here. Okay. All right. Keep going, coming in, guys. We're just gonna go ahead and keep going here. Larry Fink gives us some of the same information, and we're going to play and again, this is from Bloomberg. This is from about 9 months ago, September 29th, 2023. And we're going to let a nice chunk of this video play till at least like the 12-minute mark. Everything that Larry's going to say is going to confirm everything the people before us just said. Okay. And this is from BlackRock CEO himself, Mr. 9.5 trillion assets under management, which would make BlackRock like what? Like the 12th or 11th richest country if they were a country. Right. And this is an American company. Okay. Global. They are global with their economy. Okay. So let's listen.
And at the same time, we have restricted.
Okay. That's For some reason, Larry sounds low. I don't know what we can do about that. Just have to kind of deal with it. But he sounds low in my ear. Let me see. Can I turn my sound up? Yeah, it's the highest it'll go. So Larry sounds low, but we're just gonna have to, I guess, deal with it.
Is at what cost? And
Right.
nobody answers that question, at what cost?
Well, you said politicians, governments, they need to do a better job of explaining this, of talking. What would that actually look like?
Well, I mean, they have to recognize if we are going to focus on the whole idea about receiving immigration, big topic here in Germany, big topic in the United States. We are down in the United States, close to 3 million legal immigrants. We changed the immigration policy. At the same time, there's so many job needs. And in the United States, we've had close to $1 trillion of fiscal stimulus just beginning its J curve. And these are huge job creators. And at the same time, we have restricted immigration. And as a result of it, we see more wage pressure. So at what cost? We have, in the United States, a very protracted strike between the auto workers and the auto companies. It has been reported that the union is asking for a 40% increase. So at what cost? What, in the long run, what does that mean for jobs? Do more jobs move? This is the conversation we're having now. We are, because of the invasion of Ukraine and the realization in Europe, especially here in Germany, of the dependency in Russian gas, every boardroom.
Okay, it's interesting that he was having a conversation about immigration. This was kind of before everything popped off with immigration the way it is right now. That's conversation is kind of outside of bounds of what we're going to talk about here, but it's just it's interesting that the conversation was had here. That's all I'll say about that. Now I'll move on.
Is asking themselves, where are our other dependencies?
Yes, but
And the dependency in China in terms of manufacturing assembly is something that many companies have said we cannot.
does there need to be leadership, though, to reinvigorate multilateralism? Or is that concept, because in this era of friendshoring, reshoring, is that over? Do we need to rethink that?
Well, globalization is still intact. It's just being reimagined. So whether we have our supply chains out of China, now we're moving them to Vietnam, Philippines, Eastern Europe, Turkey, India. Mexico is one of the real destinations for North American demand.
So you see that supply chains are moving to all of these different areas we were talking about. So this is why they are emerging markets. Now, a lot of people think that what's going on with our immigration right now has to do with Mexico, but it's coming in that Mexico economy is doing good because a lot of supply chain is moving to Mexico. A lot of the immigrants that are coming in through Mexico may actually be Venezuelan because Venezuela's currency literally failed. Okay, how the heck that happened? That's a conversation for another day or for someone else. But Venezuela's money failed, and a lot of those Venezuelans have been going everywhere, including America. But the actual Mexican economy is getting all of this rebirth because a lot of supply chains are moving to Mexico. So just understand that when you hear all of this talk about the immigrant crisis, it's not actually Mexicans, okay? And that Mexico's actual economy is thriving. So, but in what that was aside, in what Larry just said, all of these different supply chains are moving to a lot of the destinations we just were talking about. India, right? Vietnam, all of those kind of Asian areas that, Draper and SWFT can be in, right? Or are in. Okay. So let me go back here for a second.
Our other dependencies.
Yes, but
And the dependency in China in terms of manufacturing assembly is something that many companies have said we cannot.
does there need to be leadership, though, to reinvigorate multilateralism? Or is that concept, because in this era of friendshoring, reshoring, is that over? Do we need to rethink that?
Well, globalization is still intact. It's just being reimagined. So whether we have our supply chains out of China, now we're moving them to Vietnam, Philippines, Eastern.
So those supply chains are moving from Vietnam, Philippines, Eastern Europe. He's going to say India and Mexico.
Europe, Turkey, India. Mexico is one of the real destinations for North American demand. And so this is not global. By no means globalization is over. But as we reimagine these supply chains, there's a reason why so many supply chains were so embedded in China, because that, for years and years and years, was the cheapest, easiest place to do it. And so in many cases, we're moving supply chains at higher costs.
Yes, especially if you're onshoring.
So he's mixing a lot of stuff here, but he's going to later say that we're underinvesting in China. So they are moving, which is what we're seeing here. We are seeing supply chains move from China to places like Mexico, especially for America, because all they got to do is drive stuff up from Mexico into like the southern United States and get it where they need to go from there. So it makes sense that if they can do supply chain at or around the same cost as China in Mexico, that it would be cheaper for them to do it in Mexico and just drive the stuff up than to actually have to put it on a barge or drive it from wherever it is in China to the barge, have the barge, then travel across wherever it needs to go on the water, then come to America. So it's actually going to be cheaper for them to do it in Mexico. But you can see not only is it moving out of China, it's moving to some of these other places like the Philippines, India, some of these other nations that we're just talking about. So although China's losing a little bit of that supply chain, there's still more investing that needs to be done in China, which is what Larry's going to talk about a little bit later.
To either Europe or the US, where you're having these labor conversations.
But you may have, all of this means is we're going to be more aggressively moving towards technology to add more productivity, whether it is using more robotics, AI. All of this is going to, in the long run, that's what I'm saying. The markets go up and down. We have big changes. We have big changes in labor. We have higher wages. In the long run, companies adapt, businesses adapt.
Right.
But the biggest issue for me, and I say this to every governmental leader I see worldwide, what the world is missing today is hope.
So he says he's talking to government leaders worldwide. This should just let you know how big BlackRock is and take you a little bit away from the whole country fighting stuff that they give us in the news a little bit, and let you know that some things are a little bit above that, in that BlackRock is a global company. Tim Draper and what he's doing is global. So cross-border payment with SWIFT is going to be huge. Okay, so he says this to all of the leaders he talks to globally. So that just lets you know, like, why would Larry Fink ever want to be president or treasury secretary when he's already talking to global leaders, right? Why would he go into a lower position when he's already in one of the highest positions? So you know what I mean? Does that make sense? But let's keep playing here.
I see more fear than any time in my business career.
What are you hopeful about, Larry? What is that hope?
Look, I'm a long-term optimist, and we built BlackRock on optimism. We are the largest retirement manager in the world. Okay, why on earth anybody would ever put their savings into something that may have a 30-year outcome? My gosh, that is optimism.
So they're one of the largest retirement managers, them along with Vanguard, and Vanguard does have BlackRock connections. But I just want to note one interesting thing here. Vanguard does not allow you to invest in Bitcoin in their retirement portfolio because probably, which I honestly think, probably American retirement portfolios are probably the largest. So we spoke about it a little bit yesterday, how globally there are these ETFs already, these ETPs already, which are converting fiat from whatever fiat, euro, dollar, whatever, into Bitcoin and Ethereum and these cryptocurrencies. So it should be very obvious to you that crypto is what's up next, right? Should be very obvious to you. You should need some Bitcoin in your portfolio because these global asset managers are taking Bitcoin off the shelves daily, right? Daily. So it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin is in a place where it's 6 figures, 7 figures, right? just due to the fact that global asset managers are hoarding it, are beginning to put it away. Okay. As well as Ethereum, right? So, yeah.
Okay, if you're not optimistic that 30 years hence is a better outcome, you're going to keep all your money in a bank.
Right.
But Danny, what's going on in China is
Oh, and another thing I wanted to say about the retirement assets. In a sense, BlackRock and Vanguard, they have a smooth setup in that, with our 401ks and all of this stuff, we have price matching for these companies, right? So it behooves you to do your 401k because your company is going to price match you. So in a sense, BlackRock is getting funded by, or Vanguard is getting funded by, because most of these retirement accounts are BlackRock or Vanguard, right? They're getting funded by entire nations who are doing these retirement programs. So it's pretty smooth, the type of things that BlackRock has, and it makes sense. That's why they have 9.5 trillion under management. They're getting that smooth deal of these retirement funds, which are getting price matching, and from like not only are they getting it from the employer, they're getting it from you, but they're also taking advantage of investing those assets however they see fit in a global manner in emerging markets and etc. Right? It's pretty ingenious when you see it and you think about it.
is a great example of fear. Before COVID, the Chinese, who are unbelievable savers, they save 35% of disposable income. 35%. Think about that. Now, they did it because there's no safety nets of healthcare like we have here in Germany, no safety nets of retirement, one-child family, all these dynamic issues. During COVID and the fear and the lockdowns and the changes of policies, savings rates in China right now are 50%.
And
that's fear.
And they're struggling to reinvigorate the economy at this point.
Because they're frightened.
But what does that look like on the ground for the investors in the ground? You at BlackRock, how do you look at this? Is there a way to capitalize on it? Do you pull back? What do you do with a problem like this?
Right now, I think in our megatrends, and right now we are underinvested in China. We believe structurally until we see savings rates, which is, in my mind, when we see savings rates decline and they're consuming more, that's an indication of more hope. That they don't need to save as much, that they can consume, they can do other things. To me,
so it says right now they're underinvested in China. Now, I'm not sure if he meant that like they're not investing in China or they're underinvested as in they need to invest more in China. Take that as what you will, but it seems like with all the things that we've been hearing and I've been covering and showing you guys on BRICS and China and India and Russia, it seems like there is investment that's heading towards China, just like we saw Tim Draper saying, hey, some of my biggest investments have been due to China. So here it seems like to me that Larry kind of said that they want to invest more in China because they're underinvested in it right now. But, take what you will from that. Let's hear some more things from Larry here.
These are very big macro trends. But I just want to say the biggest issue is we as business leaders, we as political leaders, if we don't provide more certainty and more hope, this is what causes recessions. This is what causes pullbacks.
So to be clear, because there are a lot of calls of a recession, hard landing, soft landing, no landing. They've all lost their meaning at this point. Let's be honest. So in this era of fear, of no hope, are we headed for recession right now?
No hope. It's all, I'm hopeful.
Let's hope. Larry's hopeful. We're happy about that. But does that mean we are headed for a recession right now?
So I think we have to analyze that by each region because the United States, our home mortgage market is based on a 30-year mortgage. So anybody who has a home mortgage, higher interest rates does not impact them. And so the transmission of high elevated interest rates in the U.S. takes much longer to impact the economy. Whereas in other places where you have more floating rate, or like in the United Kingdom where you have generally a 5-year fixed and then it resets. And so let's assume 20% of the mortgages have to be,
Well, this is he's talking about mortgage rates, but inflation is well, we're seeing a huge increase in like just like normal things like food, rent. Believe me, like rent is skyrocketed, and the cost on like a mortgage if you want to buy a home, I guess it's fine for people that may be already locked into a rate, but anyone who wants to buy a home or who wants to rent right now, things are very high. So in that sense, like, haven't we already reached an inflection point? Are we already kind of in a recession? Like, people don't want to say it, but I don't know. This is this is just me. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an economist. It's just me using my eyes and just saying what I see, right? I don't know.
At a higher level, that creates more immediacy at higher rates. So I think we're going to see some economies enter recessions early.
Which ones would that be?
Well, I think Europe.
Anyone's more sensitive to
the ones that are more sensitive to this elevated interest rates, and you're starting to see a real decline in GDP and other. They're basically flat now, but can they go into a more protracted recession? Whatever the recessions we're going to have, they're going to be quite modest. So I'm not even that fearful. But the other issue.
I have a stat for
let me just say one thing.
Yes, then I'll inject
okay, but I believe if we have labor shortages, if we're getting back to this whole social issue of how are we going to be doing this, in many areas you may need a recession to bring down labor demand. And I think this is one of the things that's going to impact in the United States.
You may need a recession to bring down labor demand. Yet, when we look at some of the things that are happening in the United States, there seems to still be a labor demand, and there seems to be things that happened to fill that labor demand, if you know what I mean. And I'll just kind of leave it at that. But clearly, this is something, it seems like, at least Larry anticipated that maybe those things were going to impact the United States. Who knows? Just commenting on his comments.
So you still have a very vibrant economy. The United States, and as I said, the J curve of the Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, the IRA, which has huge implications, that's going to be creating jobs. And so it may require a more protracted Federal Reserve, and it may mean by 2025 the United States economy may be entering a recession, but I don't see it any time in the near term.
So throughout history of U.S. growth slowdowns, we have underestimated.
Okay, so, that may be something for 2025, who knows? But I know as far as cryptocurrency goes for 2025, I think things look very bright. But the big point to take away from this is that it does seem like Larry thinks that emerging markets are in India. Some of that's coming away from China, but yet he does still think they're underinvested in China. So that's what we wanted to take away from this video. Larry gave us, I think, a lot. Some of it may have seemed like confusing, but it seems like, these are emerging markets that are moving the supply chain. They're moving supply chain to these emerging markets. And specifically, we see India as a place that's coming up. And we know that Tim Draper has his hooks into India with CoinDX and Unum Coin. So that bodes well, I think, for SWIFT and cross-border payments. And we've shown you all the way back to Draper's grandfather, where his grandfather was the first U.S. ambassador to NATO, where his family has been pretty instrumental in cross-border payments and payments across borders, where you really have to pay attention to SWIFT. If you're talking cross-border payments, if you're talking payments to a BRICS nation type of deal, SWIFT seems to be instrumental in that. And then when you throw in Node Capital and understanding that a Rothschild is on their board and their connections to XRP, it just gets very, 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 very juicy and interesting when you know that SWIFT supports Stellar is not listed, but I'm pretty sure we've done enough proofs on here to show you that SWIFT supports Stellar. But here XRP is listed, and all of the biggest chains to date, right? Bitcoin, ETH, Binance, Tron, Polygon, OEC, Polkadot, EOS, Avalanche, Phantom, Thundercore, Terra, Clay, Solana, XDC, XRP, Arbitrum, Kusama, right? Some of the biggest chains out there supported by Swift. We also showed you how in Metapath, there's even more chains supported like Pulse Chain and whatnot. And we've shown you the connection to XLR and Swift. We've shown you USDT and USDC and Swift. Man, it's just a juicy time. So let me go ahead and go into the comments here. What's up, Miklo again? What is up, E? I see Donald is making all those promises to get elected. Yeah. I'm not going one way or the other as far as the election is concerned. That's maybe a conversation we can have on another day. But yeah, NYC is in the house. Or I'm sorry, New Jersey is in the house. What's up, Lay Square? Top Shelf, World and Crypto. Ooh, China. Nice. What's up, Nerd Up Inc. Marv? So if I invested in Swiftcoin, then I would be connected with all of it. Do your own research, not financial advice. But to me, I think I've made a compelling argument that is the truth. But of course, do your own research. Definitely check out Draper, Crypto's Quiet King, and all the videos that I've done here connecting Draper to all the stuff I've shown you guys. And I haven't hidden anything from you. You can see the address of what I'm showing you, like the web address, so you can go and prove it out yourself. Please, do your own research. But I think I've shown that. What's up, Chick Focus Digital, Rooted Truth? What's up, G? Let's go. What's up, Peter Van? Oh man, I'm not sure if I can read your last name, Peter. I'm not even gonna butcher it, bro. I'm not gonna butcher it. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I keep putting it on the wrong thing there. Okay, there we go. Hitter all day. Get them lights up. Donald just wants your vote. He's not going to do anything. He can't stop the CBDCs from coming. Any thoughts on Casper's recent security breach? Oh, I did not hear about that, G. That Casper had a security breach. That's interesting. Casper is kind of one of the best bargains out there right now. If we pop up good old Trading View, Casper is another project that Tim Draper is behind. Like there's so many projects he's behind. It's insane at this point. But we've shown you that he is behind Casper. If anybody wants to see it again, I could just show you. That's interesting. But one thing I will tell you with Casper, let's kind of try to get rid of some of these indicators, shall we? This is the lowest we've seen Casper in quite a while. Let me see if I can get an original Casper chart. Because it started at like $1 and went all the way down. And this is the lowest we've had it. Like, it's such an opportunity, especially given the fact you can stake Casper for over 10% APY. Maybe KuCoin. Okay, let's go to. Let's see if we can go to some other thing here. CoinGecko. But yeah, when you look at Casper and all the connections to IBM, all the connections to the forum, the World Economic Forum, Casper definitely seems like it's going to be a thing. Okay. And some type of exploit or something like that, and the price goes down, I think that just spells opportunity for us. But yeah, I was not aware that they had a breach. But let's see here. So yes, started off May 25th, 2021, over $1, and has went down almost ever since. It really didn't get a bull run, and in this bull run, it did kind of pop up towards the 5 cent area. This is actually kind of a little bit bogus what they're showing us right here, because I think it did pop up to the 5 cent area, but now we have it under 2 cents, which is such a big buying opportunity. Like, yeah, see, if we go over here to KuCoin, you see that during this bull run, it did pop up almost to 6 or 7 cents. So I don't know what they're showing here on I don't know what they're showing here where it was like only up to 5 cents. I really don't understand what they're showing. But yeah. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Casper. Yeah, I saw that today when it was on Uphold. Links description. Okay. I am Drado. Switch has been constantly working 100%. Let's see. I didn't know LYX was on Casper Network. Okay, yeah, Lusco was on there. I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. G. Did Max do that? Because I know Max recently did Max talk about that? I know Max recently did a video on Luxo, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet. But yeah, Uphold delisted Casper or froze it. Can't purchase Uphold at this time. On Uphold at this time. Well, I know I bought some last night on Uphold. Maybe they just froze it because of what's going on. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see what we can find on that. So I know I was looking at my Casper, my Casper, whatchamacallit holdings this morning, and usually it like loads right up, and it took a little while this morning. I was like, oh, what's going on? So they probably did do something to make sure that this breach was closed up or whatever. You know, it's just another opportunity for us. Hopefully, though, there's nothing so bad of a breach where like they gotta redo everything and like migrate tokens and all of that, because that would be really sucky to if they have to migrate. It would be really sucky for us if they have to migrate tokens. Casper crypto halts to address security breach. Well, if they caught it, they must have caught it really fast because it didn't drain out. Like it's been at 2 cents for like a while now. So if they caught it really quickly. Um, so we go look at price action. There's, you know what I mean? Like if it was something, they really got it like before it did anything heinous, right? That's only like okay, 2.2 cents to 1.8. They really caught it fast. Um, so as you can see, it's still not at that all-time low, which it hit on 8th of April. So they caught it fast. Um, hopefully they can fix it and not have to do any type of migration or anything like that. Because migrations suck. You always end up kind of losing out on migrations. I hope that doesn't happen. Like, don't listen to like this is not FUD. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen. And I wouldn't say to do anything with your Casper if you have it right now. I'm not going to do anything with mine. At least I'll say it that way. I'm not going to do anything with mine. I'm just going to leave it there until I figure out whatever the heck is going on. If they announce something, then I'll take action then. But yeah, I'm wondering what a considered security breach that they have, and how long has it been this way? Uh, have the person continued to do this? There's a lot of unanswered questions, but it just means there might be a bigger opportunity for us to get more Casper. Let's see. Okay, we discovered a significant security breach on the Casper network. In order to minimize the effects of security breach, we worked with the validators to halt the network until the security breach had been patched. So it seems like they might have figured it out and patched it without anything going too wrong. But when you think about different networks, and like I think Hedera works like this too, and that like, okay, this is why you kind of want a central entity to have control over a network. Um, so they got it and they caught it fast, and they took action. Um, this is the only reason why you would really want a central entity to deal with stuff. Casper Association, Casper Labs, and the validators are actively working to resolve the issue. The network has been halted and the security breach is contained. Okay, that's why, and two, that's why some of my staking rewards weren't in there too. I was wondering what that was about. The issue has been identified and the solution is being worked on. Further updates coming. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. Well, thanks for mentioning that, G. That's good to note. They had to freeze Casper transactions at one point to freeze the breach. Thoughts on the Olympic opening? Don't get canceled though. I did see the Olympic opening. I did see it. They caught it right away, man. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. For sure. But yeah, guys. Just keep in mind this economy we're in. It's global. Okay, so and from what we saw here with all of these different ETPs and ETFs and ETNs, just to review last show a little bit, definitely go check out the whole last show. One of the things I kind of neglected to mention, but it was really implied in the stuff that we were talking about, is this is taking more and more Bitcoin and Ethereum off the market by these huge groups coming in here and spending their euros and spending their euros and coming out and taking large pieces of Bitcoin off the market. So if we look here with this fact sheet, these guys, like most of this, so what, 30% of this is Bitcoin. What's that? I think that's like 28% of this is Bitcoin or Ethereum. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Ripple are being taken off the market. Okay. So it makes sense for us. Why would we hold on to fiat if it's being converted into cryptocurrency? Right. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to understand this and know that, hey, maybe we should be converting our dollars into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, Swift and others, right? And I say that just to know, like, okay, if you're not putting some part of Bitcoin into your portfolio, you may want to, because all of these big venture capital funds are going out and grabbing Bitcoin. Okay. So yeah, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to hold my tongue, G, these days. I'm trying to get better at it, bro. I'm really, really trying to get better at it. Yeah, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention to you guys is pay attention to some of these things. And I think I spoke about this before as well a little bit. Look at some of the things that people, all these big staking companies are having. So I was in doing some staking of my own. I don't know what I was staking, like something on Kepler wallet. But pay attention to these big staking companies. Come on, Ruel. Type. I'm trying to get this in before the hour mark. So I was looking at Figment, right? And of course, they have some of the Draper players in here. This is a big staking company, right? And we just saw too, in what we were looking at with the ETPs and the ETFs, that the ETPs were staking Ethereum and Solana and different things like this, right? But here we have trusted by Robinhood. Draper owns Robinhood, excuse me. Draper owns Robinhood. He also has a connection to another one of these companies in here. Okay, at least Robinhood. I know there was something else in here, but this staking company is Ledger. So trusted by all these different things. Fireblocks, we know them from Sologenic. But pay attention to some of the things that these companies are using in their staking. Okay. Trying to see all the protocols that they're staking. See here, Avalanche, Near, all the different coins we kind of been talking about lately. Okay, so Ethereum, Solana, Eigenlayer, Stacks, Abatos, Audius, XLR, Avalanche, Band. Like, pay attention, Casper. A lot of these things connect back to Mr. Draper here, right? Near, Polkadot, Polygon. So pay attention to some of these things that these big companies like this, they're doing institutionalized staking, what they're holding on to. Okay. Zeta Chain, Remix, Vara, Graph, Sui, Scale, say Polygon. Of course, you know, Patreon's got like some of these talks and some of these coins first, but now we're talking about it on the show. Shout out to the patrons. Oh, we hit the 1 hour mark. But how do we find out what company stake? Well, you kind of have to know. You just have to kind of go. God, didn't want to hit the 1 hour mark, but we did it though. That's okay. You kind of have to like look at your staking protocols. So when I was staking what I was staking on the Kepler wallet, I saw Figment. I was like, oh, let's see what this Figment's all about. And it was just interesting to me that they were doing institutionalized staking. Grow your digital assets with a staking platform designed for institutions. With over 15 billion, I think he was going to say assets, or 15 billion in assets staked through Figment, and unmatched staking performance metrics. Earning rewards has never been easier, or something like that. I don't know if I'm happy with the name Figment, because like the whole figment of my imagination type of thing, but okay. But yeah, over 15 billion in staked value here with Figment. So we definitely want to pay attention to what these protocols and what these people are staking, right? Are you referring to hardware wallet Ledger that stakes? Yes, I am. Let's Square. I am referring to that. They say that they're trusted by Ledger. They're trusted by Robinhood. They have a few other companies here, Binance US. So they have a few companies that they're trusted by. And this is the Robinhood US that Draper owns. This is, some other different companies here. Ledger, of course, the Ledger wallet. So Figment is trusted by all of these people. FalconX, the FalconX company that does institutionalized investing, not the FalconX other one. Copper. And no shade on the other FalconX, but I just want to make sure we're making a distinction here. Those are not the same FalconXs. So yeah. But that's all we wanted to hit you guys with today. Have a wonderful Saturday. We went a little bit over an hour here, but that's okay. I'll be catching you guys later. Have a good one, guys. We're out of here.